in this video we are going to be looking at every single Angry Bird game and try to figure out which boss is the best from every single game. We're going to start off with the original and head all the way to the most recent, Reloaded. And quick disclaimer before we start, I will only be considering bosses if they're unique, and I will not be including games that don't have boss fights that are engaging. Like, I'm not going to include Angry Birds 2 because all the bosses are literally the same difficulty, it's just the towers switched around. And anyways, let's get right in, starting with Angry Birds. Now, the problem with the bosses from the first game is they're not really unique, and same for, like, the next one. But I was able to pick a decision. I decided I wanted a unique level because all the bosses feel really the same. There's not really any difficulty, aside from that one where you can only use Terrence and Hal. So I went with Red's Mighty Feather Defender, because I really like the change of pace, how it feels like Bad Piggies, but the birds are doing this stuff, like you're controlling the birds. And I really like Red's Mighty Feathers as like a level. I really like that Red finally got an ability, and keep in mind this was before Angry Birds 2, where Red actually had like a ability. And while it might not have the King Pig, it certainly does have a boss in it. And I still find it challenging to this day, especially with getting 3 stars, because you have to get the limit. And then, like, what's really annoying is you got, like, one of the good things is the characters are infinite, but problem is you have to get them all and defend the egg. But it is still fun whatsoever. Okay, so where do I put this? I wouldn't say it's S tier, but it is definitely unique. I am going to put it in B tier, because it's pretty good, but it's not the best. Anyways, moving on to the next game, it's Angry Birds Seasons. Now, this level was very forgettable. It's from Angry Birds Seasons. It's the Piggywood Studios one. I feel like this one is a bit unique because you actually can rescue birds from a cage, which will help you with the boss. And I like it whenever games do that. I just think it makes it a bit more interesting because they give you a few to start off with, and if you honestly don't get them, it's hard. But this is really the unique boss in the game. I mean, there's not really many. However, though, I'm going with this. And now, where to put it on the list? Let's decide that. Okay, so I wouldn't say it's one of the best, but I'm not saying it's the worst. But because the problem with it, as I've said, I'm going to put it in C tier, because it's actually, no, D tier. It's not bad, it's just not great. It's really the only unique boss in that game. Now, the next game up is the one where we're going to pop cages open like a soda can, and that is Angry Birds Rio. Now, honestly, this is not really my favorite of the Angry Birds games, because I was not really a fan of the movie, at least the second one. The first one was good, but the second one was just forgettable, along with the levels in this game. Like, the bosses for the first movie are really good, and someone pointed this out in my video ranking all the Angry Birds space bosses, that this game was actually the first one to have boss fights. So shout out to you, because I totally forgot this game had bosses, because to me it's totally forgettable. But anyways, the boss I decided to go with, which honestly you could choose either, because there's 2 versions. There's Jungle Escape and Smuggler's Plane. I chose Smuggler's Plane because it's the final boss, and I felt, yeah, it fits. And it is Nigel, which, bro, is literally immortal. How he survived getting hit by a turbine in the movie is beyond me. Like, there's no shot. like, I know from what I remember, he couldn't fly in the second movie, but, like, come on. You get hit by a turbine, you don't survive. Even if you're a bird. You'd have to be, like, Terrence in order to survive that. Actually, I'll ask you guys that question. Do you think Terrence could survive getting hit by a wind turbine? Probably. But, like, yeah, like, the boss is pretty good. I'd say it's the only rememberable boss in this game. But there's really not many. There's this and then that monkey, which I've not watched the movie in a while, so I don't remember the monkey's name. All I remember is that it, like, steals a watch and wears it as, like, a belt. Really funny. Like, I remember that scene being funny when I was a kid. But, yeah, I probably need to rewatch that movie. And I remember when I was a kid, I had this DVD for the first movie where they had, like, 3 scenes from the movie where it was the Angry Birds instead of all the birds in the cages for one of the scenes. It was really funny. And comment down below if you know what I'm talking about, because I honestly, like, I really enjoyed watching that. And honestly, they should have put that in the movie. That would have been funny. Because I like the new characters they've added. I like how they added the characters from the movie to playable. But yeah, like, what you do in this level is you fight, basically knock him out. Let's see if Terrence can. There we go. Got the boss. And then he just flies away into the turbine. And here, yeah, let's watch the cutscene. I'll show you. Like, seriously, like, only Deadpool could survive that. But here, like, look. Birds go free. And yeah, 0 chance he survived that. No capes. And then the plane crashes. But, like, yeah, like, this game's okay. It's not terrible. But it just doesn't feel like Angry Birds. Because, like, since I've been a kid, one of the iconic things about them is pigs fighting the birds. And this game didn't even have any pigs in it. But anyways, let's put this on the tier list. Alright, so the boss is pretty fun. I honestly, like, I think the Red's Mighty Feathers is better than it, though, so I'm going to put this in A tier. Because I've changed my mind on Red's Mighty Feathers. But anyways, let's move on to the next game, which is Angry Birds Space. Now, if you watched my last video, you know what level I like the most. Cosmic Crystals. Because, like, I went in depth a lot for the last video, but I really like the 3-eyed alien pig. And I'm fingers crossed that Angry Birds 3 has something to do with Angry Birds Space. And from what I've heard, Angry Birds Space has been brought into Angry Birds Reloaded. I really need to play that. I've only put on what I've played on the list because I've not actually replayed the game because I don't have Apple Arcade. I really wish they would make the game for Apple Arcade and other stuff rather than just Apple Arcade. But yeah, like, what you do is you prevent him from gathering crystals and then pop him. And I like the attention to detail, how every time you beat the boss, you get the egg stroid that, like, near it. I really like that. And as an honorable mention is this one. I really like the giant alien pig. Because, like, I really like the concept of, like, a giant pig that you have to feed rocks and burnt popcorn. I've eaten popcorn that's burnt. And I'm glad it doesn't do the effects of what it does for him. I really like how he like spins around. You have to feed him stuff, and the more you feed him the stuff, the worse his eyes look. I like how it's called a black eye and it's purple. But anyways, let's put the other boss on the tier list. Now, where to put the alien pig? I would say it's better than Red's Mighty Feathers, but I wouldn't say it's quite S tier, so I'm going to put him above Red's Mighty Feathers in A tier. But yeah, let's move on to the next game, which is Angry Birds Star Wars. This was my introduction to Star Wars, fun fact. I wanted to watch Star Wars because of this game, and you already know which boss we're putting on here. It's Call for Papa Palpatine. I went into depth a lot in this game in my last video. One of the main reasons I like this level so much is because of how you get to use Vader at the end. And it's a really fun level, and I really like that they made King Pig Palpatine, and what they did, how his his crown is literally under the hood. That was really funny. And the funny thing is, like, Darth Vader is supposed to be Corporal Pig, yet he's Anakin Skywalker as a bird. I think that's really funny how he's like wearing a pig mask. But yeah, I hope they do another Angry Birds Star Wars games, and I don't mean on the sequels. I mean like on spin-offs. Because imagine seeing a Star Wars The Clone Wars one, seeing Captain Rex, Commander Cody, and all them in Angry Birds form. But anyways, let's put that on the tier list. Alright, so where to put Palpatine? Honestly, I feel like it is one of my favorites, so this will be the first one in S tier. Anyways, let's move on to Angry Birds Star Wars 2. Now, in Angry Birds Star Wars 2, there's the bird side and there's the pig side. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the best boss from the bird side and the pig side. And we'll start with the bird side, where my favorite boss is Newt Gunray. Now, yes, I'm picking this intentionally, because the thing I like about it is the boss in general also, but I really like the gameplay behind it. I like the concept of where you have to blow up like the hangar bay. And there's like the vulture droids. They look really good in this game. I really like the design they went with. And the reason why I've put this on here is because I still find this really challenging to this day. And also let me know if you were with me, but it is really hard to get through like the Battle of Naboo also. Like, I always had trouble with it. And one of the main reasons I love this thing so much is because of the final climax. I thought that was like really cool what they did. And yeah, you're about to see what it is. Yeah, like the Naboo starfighter shoots it like in the movie, and you don't actually fight Newt Gunray. You have to defeat all the vulture droids, and that is like so unique for an Angry Birds game, and that is why I put it on here. I just think that was like a really, really clever idea. And like honestly, like out of the prequel movies, The Phantom Menace, it's a good movie, but I am more of a Revenge of the Sith person. But they did this perfectly in the game. I really like what they did. Anyways, let's move on to the pork side, and then we'll put it on the tier list. It's time to start shouting, "I hate you!" It's Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Anakin, or as I like to call it, the high ground. Now, this movie, as I said earlier, it's one of my favorite Star Wars movies. I'd say like the ranking for top 3 Star Wars films for me would be Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, Not Attack of the Clones, A New Hope, and then Rogue One. Those are my top 3 Star Wars movies. And I just really like the concept. I mean, yeah, technically you could say it's like Dooku, but come on. What's more of an iconic scene? Fighting Dooku on Geonosis or fighting Obi-Wan? Or, yeah, I know what I said, but I'm talking about, like, because they did it from the pig side perspective. That's why I said that. But I would say, like, this one is a lot more better. I also like what they did with Obi-Wan in this, where they made him younger. Because obviously he was old in the first game. And yeah, like, I like how they put the Nemoyans, I forget how to pronounce it, but as the people you kill. So you're actually killing separatists, which was really cool touch. But anyways, let us put these on the tier list. Alright, so for Nuke Dunray, because it's the unique boss, I'm putting it in A tier, just above Red. And then for the high ground, I'm putting it up there with Palpatine. And I don't really have a specific order I want to put it in. I might rearrange it at the end. But now it's time to move on to one of my favorite games. It's Angry Birds Epic. Now, this is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, games of Angry Birds altogether. It might not be a slingshot game, but it does have unique boss fights. And I'm pretty sure you already know which boss fight I'm going with. It is Wizpig's Castle. Now, I love this game so much. Like, I really think this is one of the best boss fights they did ever. And I really like how this game level has, like, Wizpig, like, changed up from how he is in the different games. Like, he has different attacks. And what I really like is the final level. Let's just beat him so you can see what I'm talking about. But this is honestly one of the best boss fights because it's not like what you're used to. Like, you beat Wizpig and then lefty and righty, and then he pulls out. Unfortunately, you can't see the cutscene, but I just love that this is the first time you get to use one of the pigs in the boss fight. And the thing that is really good about him is how no bird can defeat him. You have to use Prince Porky to deal the final blow. And let me just say, Prince Porky was a really good concept that Rovio came up with. I definitely want a sequel to this game sometime, because this is easily the most creative game for boss fights. But, like, I like that, like, how he just turns into like a demon. And we got him almost. There. But anyways, let's put this on the list. Okay, so where to put Wizpig? I definitely think it's really one of the best. But is it S tier? Honestly, I don't know. I'm just going to put it in S tier for now, and I'll decide what later. I might rearrange them. But let's move on to the final boss of the video, and then we'll see which is the best boss of all. Okay, so I have not been able to replay the game, so if you look at the top, you'll see the credit to the video that it has the footage. I've only played like the first 2 bosses for Angry Birds Reloaded. So I've just put up a video from another YouTuber on the screen. And the boss I remember enjoying was Zeta from Angry Birds Movie 2 from Reloaded. What I really like about this game is how you get to play as the pigs in some of these levels. And I don't actually have Apple Arcade, so I haven't gotten a chance to replay any of the newer added levels. and I have to pay to use it, which I don't want to do that. But I really like the idea of this, because like it was really unique, and you get to use the pigs. I mean, yeah, they have the abilities of some of the other birds, but it's really nice seeing that. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what other future games we have in Angry Birds. But anyways, let's add this last one to the tier list, and then we will redo it. We will rearrange the stuff to decide which boss is the best. Alright, so I've rearranged all this stuff, and now it is time to add the final boss to the list. Now, Zeta's not really that challenging, and to be honest, I was not really a fan of the character in the movie, but it is still a good boss fight. So I'm gonna put it in B tier above Nigel, but and there we go. That is the final ranking. So after all the ranking we've done throughout this video, the best boss to this day still is the Whiz-Pig demonic version. Anyways, that's it for today's video. But before we go, I want to say thanks to my friend Intergalactic Kitty for creating the cool thumbnail you saw in this video. And anyways, I will see you all in my next video, and see you soon. Bye.